You know, and when Atlantic said they wanted to give you a contract, what was the exact thing they said?
Well, it's funny. I went to New York City and every record label wanted to give me a contract. I met with all the major labels. I think it was like 7. And I sat in this like scary conference room and I'm playing my little songs because, you know, I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been writing songs for like 10 years. And so I like have a bunch and so I'm singing and playing and you know, they're sitting like this and all in their suits. And then I walk into Atlantic Records and I had this feeling that I wanted to take my shoes off because I was exhausted because I'd been to like 7, you know, other labels, but I just like, I find that's like my gut instinct. Like I try to listen really closely to my gut. And I feel like when I was thinking like, what record label, like how do I pick? Like, I don't know. And then to like walk into Atlantic and they're like super chill and I just like, you know, sat on the couch and I'm just like talking to them like this and they're just like normal, young, you know, rad, into music people. And I was just like, you know, all these neon lights in my head, like, this is it, this is it. So I like instantly knew when I met Atlantic. They just felt completely right, so I just went with it.
But what was the thing they said?
Oh, well, they said they wanted to sign me. They said that they believed in me. They said they believed in my other songs, not just Jar of Hearts. They told me that they didn't want to do it in a backwards order. They wanted to do it, they kind of told me in a roundabout way this past year. And I was like, that's what I want. I want to put out a live EP first. I want to establish myself as an artist, more credible singer-songwriter. You know, Jar of Hearts is a big pop hit, but like, you know, I've got a band and we're bluesy and gritty and, you know, so like I needed to make sure that I could balance that line. And I feel like any other label would have gone straight with it, like mainstream, in your face, oversaturated, like not really what I was dreaming.
That live EP, that was the thing you came up with? Like,
yeah.
I want to do this first before I do my...
Before the album, because we kept pushing the album because I needed, you know, the songs and deciding on the songs was like, you know, it was a little battle, which was a good battle because I was fighting for my little babies that I had written for, you know, over this course of time, and they wanted to make sure that they were polished and perfect, and I didn't want to go from June to January without music. So me and my band, we went in one day in Ocean Way Studios in LA and we recorded a live EP, and just to give people a preview, you know, like those songs like on the EP, they're on the album, but they're like, you know, the raw versions of them, and just to let people know, like, hey, this is what I'm really like, because Jar of Hearts is so anonymous, you know, it's just strings and piano, so, you know, you don't know what I'm like if you just hear that song, you know.
What are the specific things you wanted to show on the EP? What kind of feeling or were you looking for?
Well, just like that singer-songwriter kind of thing, like I mean, I'm playing the instruments, you know, and we made a video with it, so it's like you could watch the songs, and like, you know, just like that vibe of what my live show is like, what I'm like, you know, playing and how emotional I am, and the songs, you know, are about dudes and angst, and, you know, it's just like, it's what I sing about, and so I think the live EP was a really cool bridge, you know. I think Jar of Hearts was a phenomenon, you know, and then this bridge happened, and then the album, and it did really well, I think because we let people know what it was going to be like, and like got people excited, I think.
And in this period, where did you spend the most time? Were you in LA all the time, or were you in Philadelphia or anywhere else?
No, I definitely wasn't in Philly. I wish. My whole family's there, and I miss them terribly. But no, I didn't even spend that much time in LA because I was doing promo the same time, because that's like what they kept saying to me is you need to do everything at the same time. Like, unfortunately, you can't do that later because you have a hit song. I know you don't have an album yet, but you have to do all the work for a hit song. So I literally was going from town to town. I visited every radio station in America and thanked them personally, because that's just how I am. Because like they didn't want to play the song because it had no drums, and it was like this fight again. And I just love that stuff because it means people were like passionate about it, and the record label was like, we haven't fought for something in a really long time, and we feel alive again. And so it's just this like really rad vibe, and I just went and to all these states and the same time as trying to write, and you know, it was madness. And then I actually spent 33 days in LA when I made the album consecutively, and you know, slept in my bed, but it was like an emotional wreck, eating like chocolate milkshakes every night because of the songs I was singing and the wounds I was opening, and you know, it's been bananas.
And where was Philadelphia all this time? I mean, you that was just there on the background.
Yeah, I couldn't make it home.
You had to leave it.
I know. Well, it's always in me, you know. So, and it's tattooed on me. I've got the skyline.